Yo, 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 what's up? It's the Junkie, and I'm back with a different kind of video. Nothing to do with comic books. I was going through my stuff, my room, and trying to reorganize my closet. And I came across some pretty damn cool stuff that I played as a kid. I'm sure there are a few of you guys out there that played the same thing. I want to go ahead and show you what I got. I can't even believe I still have all this stuff left. I know I had a lot more, but I think I either got rid of it or sold it or whatever. When I transitioned from living at home to moving out on my own, I couldn't take all my stuff with me, which sucks. You know, a little bit of a backstory. When I had to move out on my own at 17, I had to move into a studio apartment. I was making like $3.15 an hour, bagging groceries. So we're talking like 87, 88. So yeah, that's how much I made when I first started out. But I could either take my comics or my action figures, and I took my comics, and that's what started me really hardcore on my path, is my love for comics. But I also played something that you younger generations probably know nothing about, or you've heard about it, but you've never actually played. Before video games, when interacting with your friends was more fun, man. It wasn't like over a headset. It was at a big table where 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 people got together and they played this game, and it was fun. It was exciting, and we would play. I mean, I remember playing for like 8, 9 hours after work. We'd all come over my house, my apartment, and I had like a big long table set up, and we would all get together and play for, I'm talking hours, guys. We would start at like 9, 10 o'clock at night and play till like 6, 7 in the morning. Some days on our days off, we'd play all day long. But let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. Get ready for you younger guys. I'm going to show you something fucking so awesome that you're going to want to go out and play. Actually, there are videos on YouTube where people still play this game to the day. And let me go ahead and get right into it. We're talking about Dungeons and Dragons. Yes. This game was phenomenal. I can't even tell you how fun this fucking game was. This game was great. You know, you started out, you had a dungeon master, which was a guy that basically led your party. He's the one that was in control of the whole adventure. This here is called a monster manual. And look, these are maps that are still in the book that I left in there when I quit playing. I can't remember when I quit playing. I want to say like before 2000 even started. Like 90s, oh man, I don't even know. Mid-90s maybe? When did this book come out? Well, this book came out in 78. But yeah, maybe mid-90s is when I stopped playing, so... But this is what you had, guys. This was your monster manual. It gave you a monster, a description. It told you how fast they can move, how many hit points they had, what kind of spells they had, a little bit of backstory on it, and you know what it was immune to, what it could be damaged by. And then your dungeon master, you know, pretty much told you what kind of loot it dropped. But this game, guys, I'm telling you now, is so fun. You older guys out there that collect comics, you guys may or may not have played this game, but this was called the Monster Manual, and these were like all the creatures that were actually in the game that the dungeon master could use. I'm just thumbing through it real quick, but this is what it looked like, guys. And basically, the dungeon master would set up the whole adventure. He would guide you through, and I mean, the dungeon master had to be good because he had to sell you. This is Volume 1. And here's Monster Manual number 2. He had to sell you on the adventure. He had to set you up on an adventure and describe in detail, like, hey, you're walking down this path. You hear crickets, and then all of a sudden the crickets stop. I mean, it was just so fun. And you guys, you know, it was an intense game. We all sat there with anticipation. You would build your own, you would create your own character. And what would happen is after each adventure, you would gain some points, right? And these points basically leveled you up in, you know, video game terms. it would level you up. I mean, look at this, guys. I mean, just so awesome. So the higher level you made it, the more, you know, spells you could have, the more, you know, the better weapons you could get. Now, here's a Dungeon Master's Guide. This was my Dungeon Master's Guide. Not mine, but the guy that led our party. He quit first. He quit the group first, but this was his original. I mean, look how beat up this thing is. Look how much this thing got used, guys. And this is from just reading it and using it. This is not, because most of my books are in pretty good condition because I had them stashed away in a box. But his book was beat up. But this is what he would use for the adventure. He would have, you know, would have everything. It would tell you, you know, how to set up the adventure. You know, how to, you know, talk to your players, and what would, you know, what weapons would do, what, you know, the certain weapons would do, and the chances of your weapon hitting, and you would have to roll dice. I mean, this is what the Dungeon Master used to set up his adventure. So this was his copy, and then I have my copy that I bought, and as you can tell, it's not used very much. But God, guys, this game was so fun, man. Look, there's even a bookmarker where I was reading up on it. And here's a wilderness survival guide. Like I said, guys, this has nothing to do with comics, so I understand if you don't want to watch. But it's a little bit of a trip down memory lane. This here is a guide. These hardback books, you could, you know, the players could buy them to kind of study up on what to expect. But these books were mainly for, like, the Dungeon Master. These are what he used in different adventures. Like, here's the players. Every player had this book. If you played, you had this book. If you had a character or whatever, this is your book that you had. And it gave you advice. It gave you tips. It told you how, you know, for what class you could be, and, you know, what spells you could get on certain levels. It just, I mean, here's the weapons. It'd tell you how much damage it would do. But yeah, guys, this was my player's handbook. And then I got two. See, even back then I was a junkie. Look at that. Jake Richardson. I don't even remember who that was. But it's got his name. See, each player had their thing, man. And it has his name with his phone number in it. And this person's, must have been part of the group. I don't know, there were so many of us that played, man. It was fun. It was like almost like a waiting list to get in one of our adventures. Unearthed Arcania. This told you about spells and potions, and I mean, guys, these were days when it was fun to be a kid. And then here's another Dungeoneer's survival guide. I got so many of these books. But yeah, guys, this is what it was like. And then you would have, here's another player's manual. It would tell you, like, different spells and stuff, and Dungeon Master screen. He would set this up in front so you couldn't, or he would have like some kind of thing set up to where you couldn't see what he was reading. But he based all his adventures off these little manuals here. This one here is Vengeance of Alphax. The Beastry of Dragons and Giants. So this basically told you, like, and I mean, when you played these games, guys, you use the shit out of these books. Like, here's a rule guide, like, it can tell you, like, dragon rules, but these are the things that you used to set up your adventures. Some of these books here, you could buy these little modules, like this one here, Twilight Calling. This was a whole adventure all on its own. As you can see, I try to have like a yard sale when I was a kid and sell these books off. So I probably sold a bunch. Here's the Master DM's book, Dungeon Master. Here's a Creature Catalog. This was a good one here. I remember this one. Had different. Every once in a while, they would send out an updated book with different monsters and creatures or whatever, and that's one of them. Master Player's book, and then Expert Rule book. This here is what your characters look like. I even have a couple of my old ones. We would have to make photocopies. That's how fun this game was. These are photocopies, and these are some of my characters. Here's Junkies' handwriting from back in the day. This one was a human cleric. Showfold was his name. And it just, here's, it just gave you different statistics. And here's another one I had. A human cleric. But, give you a little insight on a couple of my characters, guys. That's what they look like. This one here, this was a cool one too. In Search of Adventure. This one here is basically tells you how to set it up. And it would give you detailed maps. If I remember correctly. Yeah. You could use these maps to help your adventure. And it came with a bunch of different ones. But most of my books, these player guides here, they are all beat up because they got used, man. Here's a rule book. Here's another adventure, The Immortal Storm. To Find a King. I have so many of these. This one here was one of my favorites. The Mines of Bloodstone. And as you can see, these are advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And this one here is from a certain realm called Forgotten Realms. And they had different realms. They had different things. Like here's Forgotten Realms. That was another good one I liked. And this one here is from the Dragonlance series. And it has the numbers up top. Like DL1. And these were all just like different adventures that your DM could set you up on. There's Dragons of Flame, DL2. Dragons of Hope, DL3. DL4. Dragons of Desolation. These adventures were so fun. We played every one of these too, guys. Dragons of Mystery. Dragons of Ice. Dragons of Deceit. Dragons of Dreams. And like I said, they are mini adventures. And each one would come with its own map. Like it would have a map of the layout of the inside of it was either a castle or a land. And the DM would use these to set up the adventure. He could mark on there like what monsters would pop up when. And you had no idea as a player. And like I said, the DM had to sell you on the adventure, man. He had to be a good storyteller. Dragons of Truth. Dragons of Triumph. And the World of Kryn. These were, and like I said, I had so many more, guys. These are just a portion of what I used to have. I gave a lot away, or whatever. And then they would come in like box sets too. And this one is Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition, Ravenloft. This was freaking fun, man. It's a box set. It comes with its own set of books and dice and whatever, but yeah, guys, I had to show this off. It's fun. It's good times. I hope you enjoyed it. A little trip down memory lane for me. I like it. But yeah, that's what we played. We had video games, but this is what we played, man. This is what we played for hours and hours and hours and hours. Games like World of Warcraft and EverQuest, they all came from this game, man. They were all modeled after this game, and that's why World of Warcraft is so popular now. It's live and whatever, but this World of Warcraft was basically like Dungeons and Dragons, but Dungeons and Dragons I think was a lot better, and it was more personal. But anyways, guys, a little trip down memory lane. Hope you enjoyed it. May not get many views, but hey, what the hell ever. This is what I did back in the day when I was younger, man. Anyways, it's the Junkie, and I'm out. Peace!